I never thought I'd be that guy, the one who gets blindsided at his own wedding. Amber and I had been together for 5 years, and things seemed solid, or so I thought. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but I genuinely believed we were headed toward a future together. I mean, I'd even started planning our honeymoon, talking about kids and making future plans. The signs of trouble, if you could call them that, started subtly. She was more distant, less interested in physical intimacy, and suddenly her phone was glued to her hand more than ever. I told myself I was just paranoid, that everyone gets busy, or maybe she was stressed about the wedding. But then came the odd moments, little things that didn't add up. The late-night texts she'd hide behind her back, her phone ringing in the middle of the night, and her always coming up with some excuse when I'd asked to see her messages. I was dumb enough to ignore the warnings, convincing myself that I was overthinking it. Still, I couldn't ignore the fact that she'd become less affectionate, her smiles more forced, and her eyes darting whenever I got too close. I remember one night I caught her quickly deleting something on her phone, her hand shaking slightly, and I just brushed it off as her being paranoid about her privacy. But the real turning point was during our wedding reception. I should have known something was wrong then, but I was caught up in the moment, excited, nervous, proud. Our friends and family were all there. Everyone was having a good time, and Amber looked beautiful, like she was glowing. That was until I saw her phone light up unexpectedly. My heart skipped a beat. I casually reached for her bag, and that's when I saw it, an open message thread. It was a conversation between her and Mark, best man, my longtime friend. The words cut through me like ice. They were talking about meeting up, about being careful, about not letting the heat die down. I froze, staring at the screen. My stomach clenched and a cold sweat broke out. All the doubts, the gut feelings, they were right. She was cheating on me with Mark right there in the middle of my wedding. I don't even remember how I managed to keep my face straight. I felt rage, betrayal, a deep ache that I knew would stay with me forever. This wasn't just a fling or a drunken mistake. It was planned, it was ongoing, and it was with the guy I trusted the most. I kept my cool for the rest of the night, but once everyone left and I was alone, that's when the reality hit me full force. I had been blind, and she'd been lying straight to my face all along. After I saw that message thread, everything changed. I stayed quiet through the rest of the reception, but inside I was boiling. My mind was racing, trying to process how I missed all the signs, how she managed to hide this from me for so long. Amber was still pretending everything was fine, acting like everything was perfect, even as she threw glances my way that felt filled with guilt and defiance. I didn't say a word that night. I just sat there, pretending to smile, but inside I was already planning how I was going to confront her. The next morning I couldn't sleep. All I kept thinking about was that damn message, how Mark, my best man, and my wife were in on the secret. How long had they been doing this? I replayed all her strange behaviors, her late nights, her quick trips to the bathroom, and that weird look she had when she thought I wasn't paying attention. I felt like I'd been hit by a bus. How did I miss all these signs? Was I just too blind or too trusting? Honestly, it hurt more than I expected. I thought I knew her. I thought I knew us. Turns out I didn't know her at all. I waited until she was in the shower, planning to confront her then. I needed answers, truth, no matter how brutal it was. When she came out, I looked her straight in the eyes and asked her about the messages. She froze, her face twisting into that familiar bitchy sneer. She tried to deny it, saying I was paranoid, that I was overthinking, that I was imagining things because I was nervous about the wedding. Classic Amber, lying right to my face, making herself the victim. But I wasn't buying it. Not anymore. I showed her the screenshot and her reaction. Total shock at first. Then she got angry, started calling me crazy, accusing me of spying, of being insecure. And jealous, that's when I snapped. I told her I saw enough of her lies, enough of her bullshit. Her pretending everything was fine, her cheating with my best man, lying to my face when it mattered most. She stared at me, a wicked smile curling on her lips, and said, "You don't understand, Kevin. Mark means nothing. It's just sex. You're overreacting." That was the moment I knew she was a manipulative bitch. She lied so effortlessly, like it was nothing. She was trying to gaslight me, make me doubt myself, but I wasn't falling for it. Inside, I was devastated. I felt this mix of anger, humiliation, sadness, and the overwhelming sense that my whole future was crumbling before my eyes. How could she do this? To me, to our future. I wanted to scream, to yell, to tear her apart. But I kept my voice steady, told her I needed time to think. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind, so stupid. I thought I knew everything about her, but I was just another pawn in her game. I knew I had to get out of there, but I didn't want to show how much she'd broken me just yet. I needed a plan, something cold, calculated, and final. Over the next few days, I was a mess. Every time I saw her, I felt this burning mixture of rage and heartbreak. The betrayal hit deep, but what stung worse was knowing how easily she lied and manipulated me. Amber acted like everything was normal, throwing her bitchy comments and sarcastic smirks, as if she was the one in control. She kept insisting that I was overreacting, that Mark and she were just friends, that the texts didn't mean anything, and that I was jealous and insecure. Any attempt I made to talk about what I saw just turned into her twisting my words, making me question whether I was paranoid or just losing my mind. I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't sure what. The idea of confronting her again or even confronting Mark seemed tempting, but I knew it wouldn't be enough. I wanted real proof, something that would make her finally admit what she was doing. I decided I needed a plan, something to catch her red-handed once and for all. I started by installing a text monitoring app on her phone. I didn't want her to suspect anything, so I kept my actions quiet. I monitored her messages, her calls, and her social media activity. It was disgusting to see her continue lying and sneaking around, still playing the innocent victim when she knew she had been caught. One evening I was at home, pretending to watch TV, but I had my phone open, reading her latest texts. That's when I saw it, another conversation with Mark. This time they were talking about meeting up again, making plans that sounded more intimate. She was telling him she couldn't wait to see him, that she missed him, and he was responding with all kinds of flirtatious nonsense. It was worse than I imagined. I felt my stomach turn. The betrayal was complete. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind, so naive. I kept reading, trying to decide what to do next, but my hands were trembling. That night I couldn't sleep. The images of her lying, sneering, and cheating haunted me. I knew I had to confront her again, but this time I had proof. I wanted to see her squirm, to see her finally realize I wasn't some idiot she could manipulate anymore. I planned to do it in a way that would leave no doubt, something cold and decisive. I waited until she was asleep, then quietly retrieved the screenshots from my phone, making sure they were secure. I knew I couldn't just break down and cry. I had to be strong. If I was going to do this, I had to do it right. I knew the fight was coming, but I was ready to face whatever came next. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I had been hit by a freight train. My head was pounding and my stomach was twisted in knots, but I knew what I had to do. I took a deep breath and sat her down when she got out of the shower. She still had that bitchy smirk, like she thought she was untouchable. I looked her straight in the eyes and I laid the screenshots out on the table between us. Her face immediately changed. The smirk faded, replaced with a mix of shock and anger. She lunged for her phone, trying to hide it, but I was faster. I grabbed her wrist and held her still. I felt a surge of rage I'd never experienced before. I told her in as calm a voice as I could muster that I knew everything. About Mark, about all the lies, about her sneaking around behind my back. Her eyes flashed with defiance. She spat out, "You're overreacting, Kevin. It's just sex. It doesn't mean anything. I love you. This was a mistake, I swear." I shook my head. I told her I didn't want to hear her lies anymore. I wasn't stupid. I'd seen enough. I was finally ready to call her out for what she was, a selfish, manipulative woman who only cared about herself and her pleasure. I told her I was done, that I wanted a divorce. She started crying, trying to guilt-trip me, saying I was ruining her life, that she loved me, but her words felt hollow, like she was just parroting her usual lies. I didn't want to hear it. I was done being played. I told her to pack her shit and leave. She kept crying, begging, insisting I was overreacting, that Mark was just a friend, that they never meant to hurt me. But I knew better. I knew she was a liar and I'd caught her. Red-handed. That moment felt like the end of everything I thought was real. It was raw, it was brutal, but it was the truth. I didn't want to be the fool anymore. I wanted out. I wanted her gone. I felt a strange mix of relief and devastation. I was finally free from the betrayal, but the damage was done. I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to trust anyone again, especially not someone I loved enough to marry. After she finally packed her bags and left, I was left sitting alone in that empty apartment, staring at the space where she used to be. It was weird. Part of me felt a huge weight lift off my shoulders, but another part was crushed under the reality of what just happened. I kept thinking about all the times she lied, all the moments I missed, all the signs I ignored. How could I have been so blind? How did I not see what was right in front of me? The first few days were the hardest. I kept waking up expecting her to come back, to tell me it was all a mistake, that she loved me too much to throw everything away, but she didn't come back. Instead, I kept replaying the betrayal over and over in my head. Every detail, every lie, every glance she gave Mark, all the nights I wondered why she was distant, why she was hiding her phone. I felt this deep pit of sadness, that I'd lost someone I thought was my soulmate. But at the same time, I felt this raging anger. How could she do this to me, to us? I spent a lot of time reflecting, trying to make sense of it all. I realized that I'd trusted her way too much, maybe even given her too many chances to prove herself. I had to accept that she was a liar and a cheater, someone who never really loved me, only used me for what I thought was a future. That realization hurt worse than the cheating itself. I won't lie, I was angry at Mark too, my supposed best friend. The guy I'd known since high school. How could he do this? How could he betray me like that? I saw that message thread again and again, knowing I'd never get those moments back, never trust them again. Deciding what to do. Next wasn't easy. I knew I had to move on, but I also knew I couldn't just forget what happened. I decided to cut all ties. No contact with Amber, no contact with Mark. I deleted their numbers, blocked them everywhere. I needed to rebuild myself. I started hitting the gym, focusing on work and reconnecting with friends I'd pushed aside. It was about reclaiming my life, piece by piece. But honestly, every now and then, I'd still find myself wondering how everything went so wrong. How I went from planning a wedding to this, from believing I found my forever to feeling like I lost everything in one terrible moment. Looking back, I don't think I'll ever fully get over the betrayal. But I do know that I learned a lot about trust, about red flags, and about standing up for myself. If there's one thing I want others to take away, it's that sometimes you have to face the ugly truth, no matter how much it hurts. Because hiding from it only makes things worse. And you've got to do what's best for you, even if it means walking away from someone you loved. Sometimes that's the only way to find yourself again. Now looking back, I realize that everything I went through changed me in ways I never expected. I used to believe in happily ever after and trusting blindly, but now I see things more clearly. Trust isn't given freely. It's earned, and once broken, it's almost impossible to fully repair. Amber's betrayal taught me that sometimes people show you who they really are when they think you're not looking, and you have to be brave enough to see it and act on it. I won't pretend I'm completely healed. There are nights when I still think about her, about Mark, and wonder how I missed all those signs for so long. But I've also learned to forgive myself for the times I ignored my gut feelings. I learned that I deserve better than lies and betrayal. Moving on wasn't easy. It's a process, and every day is a new challenge, but I'm gradually rebuilding my life piece by piece. To anyone out there going through something similar, trust your instincts. Don't ignore the signs. If someone makes you feel uneasy or if their actions don't match their words, pay attention. Because sometimes the truth is right in front of you, and all it takes is a moment of clarity to see it. And when you do find out someone you love has betrayed you, remember, you're stronger than you think. You'll get through it, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. I did, and I'm still standing. Life goes on, and sometimes the only way forward is to walk away from the pain and find your own peace.